I'm Steve Judge, and I'm an international motivational speaker. Also, I'm recently an author of my book, Don't Lean on Your Excuses, and I'm also a speaker coach.
So, when I was reading your book, I know this sounds like a really... you're not originally from Sheffield, are you?
No.
So where is it you're originally from?
So I was born in Kings Langley in Hertfordshire. I moved up when I was about 9 years old.
Okay.
We moved into Bawtry in South Yorkshire. So I spent a lot of my life there. And then in the year 2000, I moved over to Aston. Here.
Okay. Whereabouts in Aston do you live? That's quite interesting. Didn't know that one.
Just around there. It was only 6 months. Hired a.
Was that enough?
yeah. Get out of here. Just rented a house, and then we made the plunge to buy a house over in Eckington.
Okay.
So I've been there since 2001, so about 18 years. So it's a long time.
Yeah.
So I spent most of my life up in Yorkshire, although Derbyshire I'm officially now in.
Yeah.
But yeah, Northern England.
It's nice in Eckington, isn't it? I lived in Renishaw for a while.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
13 years. I've just moved back to Aston. So hopefully I'll be here a bit longer than 6 months.
Whereabouts in Renishaw?
On the main road.
Okay, yes.
So one of the really nice house, like stone built. I always joke with my friends, I live in a stone built cottage in North East Derbyshire.
Renishaw Hall, that's beautiful. Wow,
Yes,
the gardens must take you ages to cut. But well done. I'm not surprised you moved.
Thank you, most kind. Eckington is nice. It is nice.
Yeah, it's great. And also, I didn't realise that Eckington, digressing again, but me and my son, we went to look for some old rope, went down the industrial estate, knocked on this door, and it happened to be a coal pit. And we didn't know that there were any coal pits around them. It was only last year. And said, "Oh, do you want to come in?" And we went round the area.
Wow.
There's coal everywhere,
Where
obviously.
is that?
Well, it's down. It's in the Eckington Industrial Estate, which is
Yeah.
kind of just off from the traffic lights, opposite the church. And we went to the coal face, not the coal face, but the top of it, because it's just like a quarry down into it. And we were chatting, and I said, "I used to work down the pit." And they looked at me, and they went, "Yeah, okay, you mean you used to work for the coal industry?" I said, No. I used to work down the pit. So that's a Boart, that's an Imco, that's a Dosco. And they went, "How do you know the names of all these?" I said, "I used to build them. I used to repair them. I used to fix them." So they're like, "Oh, okay." So I got a bit of respect then. Anyway, so we got some rope, and that was great. And we really used it because my son Robert wanted to go off to the Jamboree, did some fundraising, and he did a promotional video saying that he's from a village with a coal pit in it. Now, the big thing is this was the last coal pit in England, the last working mine in England, the Southern Wales.
Wow.
The last one in England, in Eckington. It's closed down now. It's gone.
When did that close?
I don't know. We went there about 2 months ago to look at it, because I couldn't take the cubs down there.
I never knew that. Isn't it so strange what you don't know?
And it's gone, and it's all rubble. There's no buildings there anymore. I guess the pit has been closed in, and that's it. The last coal pit in England gone.
Oh,
such a shame. But yeah, it was in Eckington. But yeah, Eckington's lovely. It's got some old. It's got a lot of history there.
Yeah.
And Eckington Woods, it's great there. So as a Cub Scout leader, I take the cubs in there and had loads of fun. And we were swimming there. Eckington's got a swimming pool, so we're swimming there.
Oh yeah, I had lots of parties there when I was younger.
Oh really?
Yeah, swimming parties are my favourite. Done mats and everything.
Well, yeah, and what I loved there, because I was there with the Cub Scouts, doing their badges, which we were just talking about, again, the swimmer's badge. But that's why I used to do the training as an elite athlete. I used to go down there every Friday. After take my kids swimming, I'd go down there and I'd be up and down, going up and down, doing all my training. So Eckington has got a lot of history just for me.
Yeah.
With my training, the hills around there for the cycling and the running and the woods, go and get some wellness.
Some beautiful walks there, isn't there?
I used
myself and my husband have been on a few,
it's so nice. And a lot of people don't know about Eckington Woods really as much. It's not like the paths aren't that well trodden. And I used to do a lot of running there, get to a hill and then do some yoga, some Tai Chi, because it used to just take me out that I wouldn't be interrupted.
Yeah.
And it's like a really special place for me.
Yeah. I did notice a picture in your book, actually. I don't think you'll be doing yoga at this time because it's snowing.
Oh, yes.
But I did think, oh, wow, that looks amazing.
So, I used to go running in the snow and all sorts, and that is actually my hygge moment.
Okay.
So hygge is a Danish word, and it doesn't really translate very well.
Right.
But it means so hygge. So you can ask. This is what I do in my workshops. I say, what's your hygge? I'm hygge. What's a hygge? I don't know what a hygge is.
What's my hygge?
So your hygge. I will ask you what your hygge is. A hygge is something that gives you that comfort, almost that really nicety, that stuff when you feel in a special place. So some people might say a hot chocolate, or being near a fire, or it might be comfort. My daughter's is when we're in the car and it's raining really hard. We're going down the motorway. She's not driving, I'm driving. And she's only 11. and you can hear the rain beating. And then you go under a bridge and it all goes quiet. From the rain.
Yeah,
That's really nice.
Yeah.
So my Hugar moment is when I wake up and I pull the curtains back and there's snow everywhere. And I go, oh, it's like a winter wonderland. But more than that, it's when I go out and there's silence because the sound is all muffled by the snow.
Yeah.
And then even more than that is actually going for a run in the snow. Because one, you've got the silence, but two, you're making the footprints, and I think that's really special.
Yeah.
That nobody else has trodden that ground, that morning, whatever. And so that's one of the reasons why that photo is in my book, because it's my Hugar moment. It's a really special time for me when I just go, oh wow, this is incredible, this is amazing. So what would be your Hugar moment, do you think?
Gosh, I'm just literally thinking as you're talking. I don't know.
No.
I probably have so many in a way. Like, just thinking about your daughter with the rain. Like, I love that sound on the top of a conservatory or a caravan.
Yeah.
Because it takes me back to, like, some times when I was younger in the caravan.
Yes.
And you'd lay there and you just listen. And because you can get lost in that moment, it's quite nice. So instantly I probably think of that. I'm sure there's plenty of others.
No, I think that's a really good one.
I do like that.
Another one of mine might be camping, but when it's raining. Because
Yeah.
you're all nice and cosy there.
Snug and,
Yeah. And it's a strange thing because you've got to get up and get wet at some point.
Yeah.
But at that moment, it's your Hugar moment. So maybe that's your... And also, I think when it takes you back to holidays, everybody loves holidays.
Yeah.
So maybe that's your Hugar moment
And it's like
as
family
well.
time with like my brother and stuff like that. So it's you don't really do that much now.
No.
So
No.
if at all. But yeah, so I'm going to think about that a lot though now. Each time I'm like, is this my Hugar moment?
And this is what I do in a workshop. It's like an icebreaker because you're going around and people are opening up. And you're right. The first people go, I don't have a clue what you're talking about. But as you go around the room, people go, oh, yeah, I know what mine is. And I've had bizarre ones. I've had some people say after a long day, they get home and they go, and they go, okay, that's kind of like you maybe got issues with that. I'm not too sure, but I understand. I get it. It's like
the day is done.
Yeah, I'm happy. It's my comfort zone. Which is lovely.
Do you know what I do like though? And this is not just because you go running. I do try and go running. And myself and my friend always say that if we go together, we always feel like there's a barrier when you're running, and it might be easy for you, but running's not that easy for me. But we do run and we'll go, and I feel like there's like you're struggling, and you think, okay, come on. And then there's like a barrier, and it's like once you break through that barrier, that feeling is, I know there's endorphins and all that, but you really can feel the difference. I did read that you ran 10 kilometres in 30 something minutes. I have got it written down.
It's 36:42.
Yeah.
Something like that,
and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I've done like, well, if I do 5k in less than half an hour. So I was like, wowzers, how do you move at that speed?
So running was my passion. It was my love. I loved running. I'd run everywhere and everywhere. As a kid, as a young adult, I eventually joined Kilmarsh Kestrels.
Oh yeah, I read that.
Yeah.
I used to see them running up the hill,
in a bright yellow.
Yeah, I can't remember what the hill's called, but that big hill from Eckington Crossroads.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I say, oh gosh, I'm better than you than me. I'll just keep driving.
Yeah, it's hard, Training in the winter with Kilmarsh Kestrels, you had to go where the streetlights were, which meant around the streets, and the streets are hilly. So winter training was really hard, and it was cold and dark. In the summer training with Kilmarsh Kestrels, you generally go around Rother Valley a little bit more, which is flatter, which is nicer.
Yeah.
So I like that. But running with them, I was always a bit worried, not sure if that's the right word, about going running with the club, because if you go with the running club, it's all very serious and it's all very strict. And I went to run with my brother at his running club down in Welwyn Garden City. Never been to a running club, ran with them. It was okay. I was a good enough runner to keep up with the pace, although they've got slower ones and faster ones. But what surprised me was at the end, did a bit of warming down. Then they said, right, who's for a pint? I was like, what? A pint? No, yeah, we're going for a pint of beer. You joining us? I went, yeah, okay, that sounds great. So I didn't realise they did that. And so when I came back to Eckington, went to Kilmarsh, I said, let's go for a run. Do you go for a drink afterwards? And they went, always. Yeah, we always go for a drink. I said,
So it's more of a social thing then.
Exactly. It's more of a social thing. And you can, and that's what I did it. I used it as a social thing. Sometimes I used it and stayed at the back and chatted. And other times I went to the front and pushed it to my max and used the people in front of me to try and catch them and beat them and race them. And other times I didn't. And it was just, you pick and choose. And that's why it takes all times to go to the running club. And yes, you can go for a drink afterwards. You don't have to. And most of the time, I didn't. I just, I wanted to get home. But that's kind of, it tells you the story of what kind of a club it is. So yeah, I think that's a real insight for me.
Yeah.
Joining them, and I loved running, so I pushed myself. My PB was 36:42, and that's a really fast time. But when you think Olympians, they do 30 minutes or less for a 10k, and you think,
Gosh.
wow, I'm nowhere near. So my goal was I wanted to beat 35 minutes by the time I was 35 years old. That was one of my goals. But then my accident, which happened when I was 29 years old, that kind of put a stop to all of that.
Yeah.
So I had to.
But still did amazing at 36.
Yes.
42.
36, 40, yeah. So I'm really pleased with that. And I think I put it in the book because people that read the book that are runners, they want to know, yeah, you say you're a runner, but what kind of runner are you? A lot of people assess that by what runs have you done? Do you do marathons or sprints? And what times are you doing? So if you've done 5 hours for a marathon, that's different from 3 hours.
Yeah.
It tells you very instantly what kind of a runner you are. So by me putting 36:42, for people like you go, oh, okay, that's a pretty good runner then, yeah. And that's good.
Myself and my friend, we did a 10k the other day, a couple of weeks ago now, and yeah, it was kind of like over an hour. We thought we'd done all right, getting 10k in there.
And that's fine. And that's the thing. So you can't judge anyone because everybody's different. And so over an hour, or sometimes just under an hour for 10k is brilliant for some, and others it's not. So as long as you set what you want to do, what you want to achieve, and work towards that, then that's fine. Some people just want to get round. Yeah. Absolutely. I just want to, finish it in one piece.
We're a bit like that, as in,
we've
got out of our rhythm and we're trying to find our rhythm, and at least doing 10k. I'm somebody I find, despite what I've just said, I find running quite boring on my own. So I am a little bit like, I'll just get round.
Yeah.
And that's my 5k and I'm done. And I don't want to run any more than that on my own, because I'm like, no, I'm done my 5k. But then when I'm with a friend, we can chat, and we will chat the entire way around. So it is a little bit of a social time because we don't see each other that often. It's a bit of a catch up. So yes, it's just kind of like, well, at least we've done 10. It's more than I do on my own.
It's really good, and that's why I love park run on Saturday morning. So I did that this Saturday with the kids. We haven't been for ages, and I'm just doing it to get round. I ran with them. I'm not going for PBs or anything. Yeah. I'm just, we cycle down there, we run around, we cycle back. It's just to get some exercise, and that's fine.
Yeah.
However, tip, if you are running with someone and they are better than you, faster than you, ask them lots of questions.
To slow them down.
Because when they're trying to answer and they're trying to breathe at the same time, it's really hard. So yeah, top tip.
I'll tell my friend that tip because she's got a friend and she goes running with her a lot more.
Yeah.
And she always says that she's got much longer legs than her. She's much faster than her. So I'll say to her, right, you don't do the talking.
Yeah, just say, so what have you been up to today? And then you just concentrate on your breathing as they're like going on and on and on about what they've been doing that day. Yeah.
Good plan, I'll tell her. So, just to go back to the book, obviously you briefly mentioned your accident. So whereabouts exactly in Sheffield was that fork in the road?
So yes, it was a Sunday. I was driving home Sunday afternoon, so there was no rush at all, and I suddenly remembered I needed to get some milk, and I thought I'll go to Crystal Peaks. And so
I figured it must be somewhere quite local.
Yeah, so it's the top of Donetsk Way.
Oh, okay.
And I came down there, so that's like the fork. I could have gone home to Eppington or off to Crystal Peaks. I thought, I'll just go to Crystal Peaks. And going down that road, that's where there was water on the road, and there's a big curve. It's not a sharp curve, but as I was going around the curve, just aquaplaned and just lost control.
Wow.
And that was the thing. It's very important that I say that I wasn't speeding, I wasn't reckless driving. Like I said, it was a Sunday afternoon. I was in no rush at all. There's nobody else on the road. There's nobody else in the car. It's just an accident. And I say that, one, because a lot of people might think, oh well, maybe it was your fault. No, it wasn't. But also two, it's very important for me because there's nobody for me to blame, and that's the first thing you want to do when something goes wrong, is you want to blame someone.
Yeah, whose fault is it?
If you stub your toe on something, you think, who put that there? Who put that there? You think, well, there's nobody else in the house, Steve, you put it there. Or if you're late, you think, well, that's because the traffic's a bit bad, you should have left earlier. You're always looking for somebody to blame. And the fact that there was nobody for me to blame was a good thing. It helped me to move on. It helped me to take accountability, ownership, and responsibility. And they're the key things that you've got to do to get over adversity, really, and move on with things. So that's the first thing. So the accident happened, the car skidded, I lost control. That's a horrible feeling when you can't prevent yourself from what's going to happen. And I remember clutching onto the steering wheel and just seeing a pole come towards me and knowing that I was going to hit it. I was kind of like on a side, and I just had to brace myself for impact, and then shivers down my spine just thinking about, as you know, going that through my head again. And then I hit this pole and I just blanked out. And the next thing I know, I just woke up with the car horn just going beep.
Oh, when I was reading that, I literally was thinking, oh my gosh, that would obviously you were going through a lot more than that.
Yeah.
I thought that would drive me insane. And then you sort of said that a guy came over and all you wanted to do was stop that horn. I thought, I can relate. I'm feeling it just reading the book. I was like, stop the horn.
Oh my goodness, because somebody turned that horn off. Can you phone an ambulance as well?
Yeah, by the way.
Yeah, number one, phone the ambulance. Number two, can you stop the horn, please? And somebody did. And it's not an easy thing. You've got to crawl under the car and actually take the wires out. But some people...
I just think that, as I said to you, I was talking to my mum about it, and I sort of said, I wouldn't even know how to stop the horn.
No.
My mum straight away, she went, well, you lift the bonnet up and you get underneath and you pull the back. And I was like, how do you know these things? I was like, wow, so I learned something from your book, even just from talking to my mum. Just
some
how to stop a
mechanical
horn.
knowledge. Yeah, just stop a horn with it.
I learned a lot more. That's what I was saying.
So they turned that off. Then I was just waiting. Then the good thing is that I didn't know exactly what happened. I remember being stuck in the car, reaching down with my hand, trying to work out what was going on in my injuries, and luckily I couldn't work it out, because if I'd known how bad my injuries were, I would have gone into shock.
Yeah, I read that in the book, and it said, like, and obviously now when you think about it, I suppose it's obvious, but yeah, I thought, oh, that's quite interesting. So, like, you obviously knew that, so something was stopping you from it.
Yeah, doing first aid within scouting, and also doing first aid after the accident as well. You know, in hindsight, my body would have gone into shock if it'd known that my leg had been partially amputated and just brought my hand up with loads of blood. I'd have just gone, oh. It wouldn't have been a good thing.
No.
So the fact that I couldn't find out, I just went, okay. And I'm very positive, very optimistic. I thought, well, it might be broken, which is really bad, but okay. Thank goodness that's all I thought that was bad. So I couldn't get out of the car. And then I think that's where the panic would probably start setting in, because you're just stuck there, and everybody loves to be independent. I love to be independent. You want to get out of the car and brush yourself down, step away from the accident and go, wow, that was close, but I'm okay. I couldn't do that. It was embarrassing. It was like horrible, and you're just waiting on other people. That's what happened. Paramedics turned up, and I remember as soon as she turned up, you know, talking to me through the window was great. She probably gave me some morphine or some medication, which probably made me feel great. But more than that, I just knew that she was there to help me. And that was really important to me, to know that, you know, somebody's there to help me get out of this state that I'm in. So she did her thing, then the police arrived, the ambulance arrived, the fire brigade arrived, and to cut a long story short, it took them an hour to cut the car apart piece by piece.
Yeah, I read that, and I did think to myself, oh, well, oh gosh, I just can't, obviously I can't imagine how it must have felt, but then knowing everyone's working you around you know, for an hour, and 5 minutes is a long time when you sort of sat there going like, gosh, is it done yet?
Yeah, God, I've got things to do.
Obviously,
What's going on? I'm
you
going to
got
go to hospital.
Yeah, so an hour, so you must have some amazing amount of mental strength, even if you didn't realise it.
I guess so. I mean, I think stuff like mental strength, it just kicks in like that. So it's maybe it's the fight or flight, but it's a case of they're here to help me. I best just sit here and let them do their thing, and they will talk to me every step of the way as they cut the car apart. And I just had my faith in them. But more than that, when they eventually released me from the car and put me into the ambulance, then I was actually moving towards, and I think that was a real pinnacle point for me, being in the ambulance, moving towards the hospital, because that's where my journey started.
Yeah.
I was actually moving towards the hospital where they could help me more, they could make me better, fix me, whatever's going on down there. I still didn't really know, but they were going to fix me and I was going to be all okay again. So that also the medication that they probably gave me in the ambulance probably helped. I think they'll probably give me lots of morphine. And the fact that, you know, the two guys in it,
Well, I was just about to mention that despite the seriousness of it, I know I did sort of say to you, I got my mum to read a bit of the book to me. This was a bit that she was reading to me at one bit, and I found myself obviously laughing. And I thought, gosh, what's so inappropriate, Louisa? What are you laughing at? But it was because of the way you wrote it, as in like, Steve, are you driving, Steve? Are you okay, Steve? Where are we going, Steve? Yes, Steve, I'm fine, Steve. Right, Steve. And it was that, and because someone was reading it out to me, so you really should get your book on Audible, because it's like an emotional roller coaster. Because one minute you're sort of like, oh my gosh, this is horrendous, and oh, you're trying to relate, even though you can't really, and then it's really funny listening to the Steves.
It is.
So I know it's probably like really inappropriate of me, but I did find it really funny.
What's really interesting is, one, it's true. Two, probably did cheer me up a little bit in the ambulance, knowing that Steve and Steve were looking after me. But also, as a speaker, now that I tell this story, it's pinnacle that you bring in some comedy somehow. After you've got to do the highs and lows as a speaker. So if you brought the audience down, being in a really low period, as in I was stuck in the car and I couldn't get out, and they saved my life. That's really low, and the audience going, oh no, what's going to happen next? The next bit is the funny bit, and you've got to lift them up. And the other one guy was called Steve, the other guy was called Steve, and they said, Steve, are you okay, Steve? I'm good, Steve. Right, Steve, we're going to go very fast, Steve, and very safely, Steve. Is that okay, Steve? That's good, Steve. Right, Steve, let's go, Steve. And that's how it happened. And it's really funny. And it breaks the audience, because the audience are allowed to laugh. And that's what you got to do. And then you're back on a level playing field. Then you get to the hospital. Then you've got to bring them down again. And then you've got to bring them up again. And so,
did that. So I was sort of like, oh my gosh, it's horrendous. And then like, it really should be laughing. But I suppose as well, just when you sort of, how you describe it as a fork in the road, have you ever seen that film Sliding Doors?
Yes.
I always relate to that film in a lot of things in life, of like, if you'd just gone this way or that way, or you know, at different times, how your life could be different. And I suppose that's one of those moments, isn't it? If you'd just gone to Eckington, I guess something might have still happened. It's life. I do believe in that kind of thing, but it's just, I really could relate that situation to life in general, in many ways, that if you do one thing, something can happen.
It was a fork in the road. I can remember making the decision, I need some milk. It was Sunday, where would sell milk? A lot of the shops would be closed, but Crystal Peaks won't, so I'll go there. And that was a fork in my road, I guess. And I haven't made that into a big thing in the book, but it could have been.
It's definitely something, whether it's because I really like the film Sliding Doors, I know it's like back in the 90s, but I do relate a lot of things. It just took me back to thinking like that, and I thought, wow, it just shows how many points in life could take you one way or another way.
You just don't know what those things are. And I think that's why one of my messages is about grabbing opportunities. I think every opportunity that you come across is one of those forks in your road, in your journey.
Definitely.
And it's about seeing those opportunities and then doing something with them. Because if you don't, then you're consciously making a decision to not go down that road. And you don't know what's down there. And you don't know unless you go down there. So you've got to make a decision sometimes. It's not easy. You can't. Can you grab every single opportunity? I don't know. It might lead you astray. But is that a bad thing or a good thing? Well, that's up to you.
Exactly. You never know where it might lead, do you?
No, and I think that's why it's also very important to know what your vision is. To know, if you know what your vision is and where you're going, then the opportunities will present themselves on the way, and you can decide whether that opportunity is actually going to take you to your vision. It might be something different. It might take you on a side road, but if you're really focused on that thing up there, that vision, that mission, then maybe you should stay on the road that you're taking. Everybody's different.
I do think that I know it's a bit cuckoo, but I do think that life has a tendency to, it's the law of attraction and things like that, isn't it? That if you're like, you've got your vision and you focus, sometimes life does throw a curveball, but it could actually lead you closer to your vision, but you don't see it at that moment.
Absolutely, that as well.
So I quite like situations like that, when you sort of like, oh, okay. And I often get told how lucky I am. People don't see how hard you work, they just see how lucky you are.
Don't they? Yes.
But I just think, no, I am an opportunity grabber. I'll try it. They don't all work out, but people don't see those bits that don't work out. You don't make a big thing of it.
I don't use the word try now, because you either do it or you don't. You've got to make that decision. So that's really important to me, so that you can see. But also, I've stopped saying good. I've stopped saying good luck. I was going to say I've tried to stop saying good luck, but no, I'm not saying good luck to people because I don't think that's fair. Because I think some people put a lot of time and effort into things, and for you to say, "Oh, good luck," I think it diminishes everything that they've just put into it. Even my daughter, who's revised for an exam, and I say, "Oh, good luck."
Yeah.
You think, what's got nothing to do with luck? She's just been revising for like
she's
months for
worked
this
hard.
exam.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with luck. So I say, I wish you all the best. And
That's a good
it's
point.
harder to say because it takes longer. It's easier to say good luck, but I don't think it's fair. So I wish you the best, or be the best that you can be.
Yeah.
Something along that. I haven't quite come up with a phrase yet, but I am stopping saying good luck to people.
I'm going to take that, if you don't mind, because I like that. Because I think some people, I think in life, things do come a little bit easier too.
You think so, yeah.
I think I have to work hard at everything that I do. Like, I'm a bit of an average Joe, which is not a bad thing. I'm kind of good at a lot of things, but I'm not really a master of anything.
Okay.
I don't think. But I can get by and I get through every situation, but I do have to work hard at it.
Oh, you're so lucky.
Yeah,
thanks.
So I think, that's a good thing actually, because sometimes it's not luck, and we're all working hard. Just some things are just naturally easier to some other people. Like running might be easier for you than me, for example.
Well, you say that.
Blinking hard at that.
with two disabled legs.
Okay.
Yeah, running's pretty hard. So I'm running on Saturday with the kids, and then I'm running on Sunday, and it was raining, and my son was training for rugby, so I was running around the rugby fields, and it was boggy and muddy, and I was tired, and I had aches, and the endorphins weren't kicking in. It was hard. It was really hard. But what was really strange was I did that, and I looked at my watch, and I kept going for another 10 minutes. I did 40 minutes running altogether. I was really proud of myself. I came into the rugby club, and I went to wash my hands, and in the corridor was a wheelchair.
Oh, okay.
And it was the exact same wheelchair that I'd been given from the NHS back in 2002. And I was like, wow, and I took a selfie with me in this wheelchair.
Oh, okay.
I'd do a blog about it or something. Because I couldn't believe it. Because this wheelchair was there, and I thought, my goodness, what's that, 17 years ago, that's what I was sitting in. And that's when I was told that I may never walk again.
Yeah.
And I was just stuck in a wheelchair for about a year and a half. And I did everything possible through my rehabilitation, through my physio, to get myself out of that wheelchair. And look at me now. I've just been for a run. It was really hard. Did I enjoy it? I don't know. It was tough. But I did it. And I was really, pat myself on the back, really proud that I did it. And I'm not saying it was a message or anything like that.
Oh, I think it's like a reminder of, as you can tell, it's like a reminder of that's where you were. Look at you now.
So running doesn't come easier for me. If I go for a run, I have to consciously think, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Because
I shouldn't have said that, should I?
You're going to be in pain, Steve, afterwards, and you're going to be in pain tomorrow and possibly the next day. And I'll go, yeah, but I really want to run. I want to run because I can run.
Yeah.
I can run. Running was taken away from me for 7.5 years. And that's really hard. Something that I love doing, something that I was passionate about, taken away. I got it back. I got it back through my hard work and my persistence. And now I've got it, so I do it when I can. Sometimes I can't do it because I'm in too much pain, but that's why I swim, that's why I cycle. But when I can do it, I will do it. And I love it.
Yeah.
And I do get the endorphins. But yeah, a little reminder.
I love that, yeah. So maybe I shouldn't have said it to you, but I suppose that's also a point of, it's amazing how other people can see that it looks easy to everybody else.
Absolutely.
And maybe they're just working as hard as you, if
never,
not harder.
Yeah, you're right.
Never know.
You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And whether that's sport or whether that's academics or even love. You look at a couple and you think, they're so happy married.
Yeah.
With the perfect family, the house, and the kid getting divorced. Oh, didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
You just don't know. Or in business. Oh, you're thriving in your business. I see you on social media. You're what? You're closing down. Wow, I didn't see that coming. You just don't know.
No,
and I think in this world that we live in, we don't share what's going on in our lives a lot. We paint this facade by social media, by being optimistic and positive, and I'm guilty of that as well, because we want to look as though we're doing well. It's when you're not doing well, who do you tell?
Yeah.
Who do you share that with? And that's why this big thing about mental health. Because a lot of people aren't sharing what's going on. They're not sharing when they're struggling. They're not sharing about what things are happening in their life, and they're just pushing on through it. And they're closing it down and digging it deep down inside themselves, and that's not good. And then it just erupts, and they make themselves ill, or they make other people ill. And you need to share more. It's getting a bit deep, this really.
I know. But we're on that roller coaster again, aren't we? We're laughing. We're not laughing.
But it's so true. And writing my book, I had to bring out a lot of things that I'd buried deep.
Yeah.
A lot of things, whether that's to do with my accident, whether to do with my training schedule, or whether that's to do with my wife and my marriage that was breaking down, or even my work, things weren't going well at work. I'd buried a lot of those really deep down. And to write the book, I had to dig down, I had to open them up, I had to experience them again. And then and I was in tears, and I had to then write about it. Because I wanted the book to be very real to life. I wanted it to be everything, warts and all. So there were times I was on my keyboard with tears rolling down my cheek, typing about what I was, really sad about. And that was really hard. Is it good therapy? I guess it was. But, I wasn't doing it for the therapy. I was doing it to get it out there. Because I want people to know what I lived through. Because again, when I speak for 45 minutes, it's kind of like, had an accident, grew his leg back, then started running again, became a world champion. Wow, that was lucky. And all of this, and you think, no. There was so much more.
Yeah.
You read the bit about getting a straight leg. And I could not get a straight leg, and that brought me down to depression.
I know. I've I have comments about your book a lot on my little notes, and we are generally just talking about it anyway. But I have sort of mentioned a bit, I could feel you, from the book, the sadness and the desperation, how you spoke to the surgeon, and when they're sort of saying to you that you might not walk again, and before you went in for your operation, and I can't imagine someone's saying that to you, and then they're putting you under, and then that's the last you've heard, and you don't know until you wake up as to okay, what happened then? As in oh my gosh, what is it? And
it's really horrible. And I think how I cope with it was a little bit of ignorance. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm very positive, very optimistic, but I'm also quite ignorant with certain stuff, which is great. That can get you through things. So when they say you may never walk again, I hear that you may, so that means I might walk again.
You better hang on to that.
I'll hang on to that little bit, that word that you just said. I'm going to hang on to that. And it's the same with a lot of things. And you can get through life like that, and that can thrive, and you can push yourself forward with that. But if you put your head in the clouds all the time, sometimes you don't see the wood for the trees. And I found that the other day. So I've got a business coach, and he's coaching me, and the big thing, lots of things that he does, and so I'm with Mark Thackeray from Action Coach, and he gives me loads of these tools that I can use. The big thing that I struggle on is finances, because I'm not very good on finances, and I hate finances.
Nobody likes stuff like finances,
boring and everything. However, once I get into it, I'm kind of a bit, this is quite interesting. So I've got an Excel spreadsheet now, and I've got a graph, so I can see what's going on. So I did it last week, and I was like, oh my goodness. I'm spending more than I'm earning in this year. Thinking let me recalculate that. So I recalculated it, and it brought me down, because I've had my head in the clouds. I'm working really hard, but I'm investing a lot in my business. It's only my third year, so I'm still investing in the book. I'm investing in a website. I'm investing in lots of new logos and business. I'm investing. So I'm still just about spending more than I'm earning. At the moment, I've got a very busy couple of months where things will shoot up, which is great. Thank goodness. But it brought me into realisation, into reality, and I didn't like it. It was absolutely horrible, and I thought, I wish I'd been ignorant. I wish I hadn't done the finances and the graph. I wish I'd just buried my head in the sand. And I thought, no, Steve, no, because that's not what businesses do.
No.
I'm trying. I'm running a business which is going to be a proper business, one that's sustainable. This isn't something I'm going to do for 3 or 4 years, then move on to something else. I love what I do. I love being an international speaker. How do I make this sustainable? How do I make this concrete? You have to open your eyes. You have to see everything that's going on, and you have to admit it to yourself and then work with it. So I could see this graph. I thought, I've got to do something about that. The last week, I've done so much on lead generation. I sent out 24 emails to past clients, and I've had already about 2 or 3 emails back, because I was saying, I'd love to send you my book. I've just done my book, and these are clients I haven't spoken to for a couple of years. I'd love to send you a copy of my book. And they said, well, Steve, not spoken to you for a while, nice to know things are going well, would love to have a copy of your book. And we must chat sometime, because we've got some work coming up. I'm going, yay!
Excellent.
It's all lead generation. I've been meaning to do that for ages. But sometimes you need something. So this graph is giving you
a kick up the bum.
Exactly.
To basically go, right, what can I do to bring the money in?
and then I've mentioned in my book, it's one of my phrases, it's a very simple phrase, that when you've got a goal and you know what you need to do, you ask yourself, what more can I do? What more can I do? What more can I do? And yesterday I thought, I need to send those emails, don't I? Yes, Steve, you need to send those emails now. Okay,
it's that thing of asking yourself the right question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it, why is this always happening to me? Why is it so wrong? Whoa. If you're sort of like, how can I do it? Like, what can I do to change it?
Yeah.
Then
let's clear the
your
desk.
brain will give you an answer.
What the hell do I need to do to get more work? Oh my goodness. And it's, and I do a lot of that. I talk to myself. And I used to think that was a little bit crazy. And it was really nice. I think I mentioned in the book. I mentioned in the book that I was doing as an elite athlete, I did this questionnaire, and they were talking about, you know, training methods and stuff. And one of the questions was, do you talk to yourself? I was like,
if I answer yes,
yeah, I don't know.
crazy.
Yeah, will I still be the team if I go yes? I said, yes, I do actually talk to myself. They went, okay. I said, is that good? And they went, yeah, that's good. I went, yes, it is good to talk to yourself. Yeah, it's good to talk to yourself. Positive and negative. Give yourself a pat on the back when you've done something good. If you're not doing something good, have a word with yourself. Don't use the word try. You know, what's all this? Like, come on, let's,
no trying and no wishing good luck.
Yeah, well, that's for me. Everybody's different.
I think it's good. You can take something from it, even if it's not.
Absolutely, yeah. It's, you know, you either do something or you don't do something. If you say, I'm going to try to turn up on time, what does that mean? Does that mean you're going to be late?
I'm going to try. I just think that's not happening then.
Yes.
I've learned that when people say the word, I'll try and make it, I've been proven wrong once recently, but I would say 95% of the time they're not coming.
Yeah.
If they say try.
Yeah, you're coming out tonight. Oh, I'm going to try and make it. Oh, okay.
You're not coming.
See you later then.
I love the saying from your dad, like, be the best you can be. I just thought, I know it's such a simple thing, but what a good saying. So whatever you're doing, just like you've said earlier, be the best you can at it. So wish you the best. It kind of like, I liked how in your book, you're obviously very inspired by your dad as well as with the things that he says. So can you expand a little bit on how you felt at that time?
So my dad had cancer for 7 years and fought it for 7 years. And I think that's really valuable. I think if I take myself back, and this is probably when I was writing my book, again, I did my ignorance thing. I put my head in the clouds and like, la 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 la, he'd be fine. Yeah. And he was, and he had cancer and he fought it. Yeah, then it came back again and he fought it. And I'm like, well, just keep on fighting it, won't it? After 7 years, you know, I remember, you know, my mum and dad having a word with me and saying, he's not going to make it this time. I was like, what do you mean? Of course he is. He's going to fight it. He's going to get it
like
again.
It doesn't compute in your brain,
does it? Like, of course he's going to...
that's not working.
So going through to see him when he was lying in bed, and him just, you know, his last words to me, you know, were, you know, just keep doing what you're doing and always be the best that you can be. Those stuck with me because it means so much when somebody says things like that. It doesn't say you've got to win or anything. It makes it very generic.
Yeah.
It's got to be the best you can be. And to use that, and how I've used that and enhanced it so much, is that I still have a goal. So if we're talking about being an elite athlete, I had a goal of wanting the gold medal. I wanted to be the world champion. That was my goal. That's what got me out of bed every single morning and late at night and training hard and pushing it through the comfort zone and everything, was that gold medal being the best, being the best that I could be to get that gold medal. What more can I do? What more can I do? What more can I do to be the best I can be? All of that and everything else. You do that leading up to the event, the judgment day. Now I'm going to relate this to something like an exam, because I talk to schools a lot about them revising. You've got to revise. You want to get the A star or whatever it is. That's your goal. That's what you should work towards. Now, when you get to judgment day, the exam or the race, when you're on the start line, that's when you're going to go, whatever will be, as long as I'm the best that I can be. So to tell you a very quick story, I used to do this visualization where I'd visualize the whole race from start to finish, putting my goggles on, getting into the water, feeling the temperature of the water, hearing the horn, setting off in the swim, not getting punched or kicked. The whole point of the visualization is very positive. Everything works. So my goggles don't leak. I get out of the water, I'm winning. I get into the bike, I don't get a puncture, the chain doesn't come off, and I can feel the wind going through my hair. It's all very positive. I get off the bike and I wrap the bike and I'm on the run. And I don't fall over on the run. I don't get beaten on the run. I push on the run and I feel the wind and I'm really pushing it. And I cross the finish line to grab that gold medal. So that was my visualization. That would take me about 20 minutes. Great detail, closed eyes, open my eyes, go, wow. That was awesome. I want to do the race.
Where's my medal?
Where's the medal? I'm up for it. And I go to the start line and I go, yeah. And people go, are you okay, Steve? I go, yeah. I'm all pumped. I've just done the race and I won. I want to do it again. And they're like, okay, Steve, he's lost it a little bit. I said, no, I want to do it again. No, I did it in New Zealand, and the problem was when I crossed the finish line in my visualization, the gold medal wasn't there because of the Italian. The Italian was there,
Oh,
and
yeah.
potentially he could have grabbed the gold medal. And I thought, well, that's just making me nervous. So I looked at my watch. I thought, right, I've got an hour till race. I've got to do that all again. So I did it all again with the swim and the bike and the run and everything being positive and everything being great. And I crossed the finish line just knowing that I'd been completely the best that I could be. And I was completely spent. I was almost sick. I was out of breath and my lungs were hurting in my visualization. And that's all I wanted to do. Do nothing wrong, be the best that I could be, and be exhausted on the line. Those are the 3 things that I needed to do. I thought, okay. And I opened my eyes. I was like smiling. That yeah, let's go and do that. Let's go and get exhausted. Let's go and get spent. Let's go and push it. Let's do everything right. And the result was the result. And I went and did that, and I got the gold medal, and I won in New Zealand. Now, if we're not going to do spoilers or anything, but when I went to World Championships in England, in London in 2013, I did the whole thing. I got the silver medal. Did I have any regrets? No, because on that day I couldn't have gone any faster.
Yeah.
But it's more than that. It's about the training. I couldn't have trained any harder.
Yeah.
My nutrition was perfect. My mindset, my visualization, my yoga, my injury prevention, my equipment, everything. I'd done what more can I do? Everything was perfect. On the day, the swim, the bike, the run, the transition, everything was perfect. I couldn't have gone any faster. The result was the result. And I got beaten on that day by 30 seconds by the Italian.
I remember seeing you, obviously, speaking before, or hearing you. And when you said that sort of scenario, I remember sitting in my chair thinking, no. And then, but I left that day thinking, do you know what? I not relate, but I just thought it resonated with me a little bit, because I thought, that's your problem, Louisa. If you don't come out on top all the time, you don't think you've succeeded or been a success. But sometimes when you don't get that job interview, or you don't get whatever, if you think, well, I honestly couldn't have done any better, I gave everything,
that's it.
There is kind of a feeling of harmony or something, like, you're like, okay, well, I'm okay with it. So I suppose, like you said, you couldn't have done any more. It was fine. You still got a silver, which is amazing. So actually, and what it did make me think of was, I didn't realise until I got home that I was talking to my husband about it, and I didn't realise at the time that we watched that. And I remember thinking, like,
really?
And sort of like both myself and Andy were a bit really disappointed for you that you got the silver. And I thought, how funny is that we were so disappointed for you. Actually, you weren't disappointed at all. You were elated, on top of the world almost. But
it's very difficult, because it does sound like a contradiction. You're going for the gold, you only get the silver, and some people say, oh, silver's the first loser. Okay, that's a mindset thing. That's a horrible mindset, to be honest. You definitely go for the gold. You go for getting that job interview. You go with passing that exam. You go for that thing that you really want. And the main thing is you're best that you can be. Now, if you come away, let's do this different scenario. If you come away going, I didn't win, I didn't get it because of this, that, and the other. I hadn't done enough research, hadn't done enough revision, hadn't done enough training. Well, then you're an idiot. You're Muppets. I don't know what to say. Well, you've got to take responsibility, the ownership. You've got to, you've got to take action. You've got to do all that stuff before. Now, if you could see that you're going to struggle 3 months before, great. You've got 3 months to do something about it. I used to stand on the start line. I used to overhear people as we're like shaking hands, just about to do the swim, going, oh, I wish I'd done more swimming training. And I'd be like, what? Are you kidding me? You've got to be joking. I'm here with no regrets. I know that I couldn't have done any more. On the line, on the start line, I couldn't have done any more. Bring it on. And I think you've got to be that at the job interview. Bring it on. I've done my research. I know exactly what I'm going to say, how I'm going to answer every question on the exam, everything. Bring it on. If you're not at that stage, you're not at that bring it on stage, you're an idiot. You should be at that stage. You need to have done more about it. We've only got 24 hours in the day. Get that, okay? So what are you going to do with those 24 hours? So that when you're on that start line, you've got no regrets. And when you finish, when you get the result, whatever the result is, you go, no regrets. I couldn't have done any more. I've been the best that I could be, just like my dad said. So,
it did really kind of stick with me, that, because I just thought, isn't it funny how we were sat at home thinking, and then actually, so the reality of it is so different, you know, and I kind of, it's so, because we don't always get everything that we sort of think that we want, but at the same time, I think we've got what maybe we needed. you know, at the time.
To bring it into present day, my book. I spent so much time and money and emotion doing my book. The last thing I needed to do was to market the hell out of it, and I wanted to be Amazon #1 bestseller. So I did everything. Now, I didn't have a budget. I'm not leaning on excuses. I didn't have a budget. So I did as much as I could on social media. I did so many videos. I did everything my book coach told me to. I realised that I needed to do more videos, Facebook Live videos. They're nerve-wracking, but I did Facebook Live videos because I thought, no regrets, come on, let's do everything. I blitzed it. It became #1 bestseller in the pre-releases, but when it actually came out onto the shelves of Amazon, it didn't make it. And I'm like, I couldn't have done any more.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is, and I'm happy with that. Now, if I'd been going around going, damn, I should have done some Facebook Lives or more video, I couldn't have said that because I did that. So I've got no regrets.
And the book is amazing.
I know, it's brilliant.
A success anyway, so it is so good.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was thinking, like, how can you remember everything in such detail?
Okay.
You know, like you were sort of like, and like you said, you've taken yourself completely back.
Yeah.
And almost got those emotions raw again.
Yes.
So that you can write about it.
Yeah. And my book coach said, be careful. Like a word of warning. Be careful if you take yourself into this dark place, because it will bring you down. That's what your brain does. It will take you back into that scenario when you're, you know, going into depression, when you're potentially, you know, phoning the Samaritans up, all of those dark places you're going to have to go back to. So when you finished writing for that day, make yourself into present day. Remind yourself where you are, that you are fit and healthy, that you have got 2 kids and that you've got, you know, an amazing house and you've got a job. Something positive. Okay, bring yourself out of it. It's really important. Otherwise, you'll just carry on feeling low about yourself. Yeah. And it was hard, and it's lovely that you mentioned the detail, because I rummaged through the loft and I had diaries of the first like 2 or 3 years. I had all my race notes that I'd made, and I loved that. I found these race notes. So this is, what more can I do? Knowing, I think it's called something like to know your enemy. And I used to know the other competitors in my group. I'd find out, I'd get the starting list, and there'd be like 10 people, and I'd be like, right, internet. So I'd find a picture of them, because I'm a visual person. So I'd get a picture of them, then I'd find out what races they've done, then I'd find out what times they've done, and I'd write it all down. So they're good on the swim, not so good on the bike, but very good on the run. Right, okay. And then I'd score them. Next person, picture, da-da-da. And I've got these notes. And you think, bit over the top, isn't it, Steve? We're talking about becoming a world champion here.
We said we've got to be the best you can be, and whatever you have to do.
And I would sit there and I think, well, what's making me nervous? Well, I don't know who my competitors are. Well, let's go and find out who they are. And I'm not saying like stalking them or anything like that. I don't think you're allowed to do that. But I would do as much as I could to find out everything about them. As soon as I found out about them, I felt so much more relaxed. I felt, right, I can. That's not a problem. He's not a problem. He's not a problem. He is a problem. So I'm going to watch him on the bike. Not a problem. We're going to watch that on the run. And fear is when you don't have control. So when you don't know what's going on, that's when you've got fear. So I knew what was going on. And, you know, that was really important to me. So I found all of those notes as well on my race numbers. This is eventually, you know, especially when I was a teenager, I'd have my race number, and on the back of them, I'd write how the race had gone. So I'd write down all my my mile times, and then say, I'd read it, it's like, it was a good race, especially the 3rd mile, really pushed it on the last mile, excellent PB, well done, Steve. I was like, congratulating myself. No, it's great. It. So I was reading this from like 30 years ago, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. I know, and it's really like sending myself messages from my past. And even in my training notes, I love comments like, the row machine, it would be like, great start, really pushed it, blitzed at the end, beat that, Steve.
It's like
challenging myself.
Yeah.
And so the next time I got on the row machine, I'd read it and go, all right, I will. Yeah, talking to myself again, it's not a bad thing.
It's got to be done. It's got to be done. So I guess this is all leading to the, I really liked your inner tiger. Tell us about your inner tiger.
So the inner tiger, I don't know where it came from really. It probably started in New Zealand. But I think that everybody's got this thing inside them. It doesn't have to be an animal, but it's like a fire that you stoke. And it's just burning away. I guess it's probably your heart or whatever. But sometimes if you put oxygen on it or more fuel in it, you can get it enraged and get it really burning and bright and really push it. Mine is my tiger. So mine, but it's not only that, it's a white tiger. So the white tiger, because the white's got purity,
Yeah.
but also it's ferocious and it's got power. So that's it. So let me just read it. Wise in his experience and that of others, heart and soul full of passion, competitiveness and power, ingenious as he prowls and plans before he pounces, terrifyingly courageous from compulsions if not caged, energy resourceful as sleep is to recharge, tenaciously driven towards goals, intelligent as he absorbs and adapts from others, generous as his kind heart helps and supports, eloquent in his pure colours of magnificence, resourceful in the dedication of time and energy. So it just makes me feel
quite moving, that. Yeah.
So that reminds me of all the aspects of it. It's very much about controlling your tiger. So when I set off on the run, for example, you just want to release your tiger and it to pounce along, and it won't last. It will burn out. 5K. You've got to cage it, contain it. Now, while it's contained, during your training, that's when you're doing the education. You're absorbing all the information. You're watching, see what other people, what are they doing in transition? Do I want to do that? I'm going to try that in my training sessions and see if that works. So it's becoming intellectual. As an engineer, you have to be ingenious. So I was using, engineering thought and getting a problem and finding a solution. That might be through transition or training, or how do I get faster? Always asking myself what more I can do. Then you've got the power as well. And it contains power and it is ferocious. So I told somebody, it was my business coach, I said, well, the thing is, I'm not really competitive. And he just laughed at me. He says, yes, you are, Steve. I said, what do you mean? I said, I'm not really in business. He says, yes, you are, Steve. You are competitive. And I can turn it on and off. I can contain my tiger if I want to.
Yeah.
If I'm just having a kick around with the football with the kids, I'm not competitive. If they say, right, I've got 5 minutes, let's see who can score the most goals, I'm like, right, bring it on. And I almost flick a switch. So it's like that with training, or was like that as an elite athlete. Going back to my business, I've been open with my business coach that I've talked to other speakers, and they're really successful, and they're earning loads of money, and they've got sustainability, and I'm almost jealous of them, and that drives me forward. I think, well, I don't understand. I'm just as good a speaker as them. Why aren't I getting the same money as they are? And my business coach says, you're competitive. I go, okay, yeah, maybe I'm a little bit. But it's not a bad thing, because then I say, right, what more can I do? What more can I do? What more can I do to be getting as paid as much as they are as a speaker, instead of what I'm getting? So it's about then taking that on board, using all of that information and pushing yourself forward. Yes, being ferocious. This mainly comes into sport. I don't think it really comes into business, because I'm a nice guy. But in the ferociousness, it's not hating people, but releasing that tiger. It's like banging those cage doors open and saying to your tiger, go for it, go, just clear the way, let's go. And
I think that's definitely in business, to be honest. I just saying it, I think I can relate to that. I have to release myself, let myself go and be ferocious, because otherwise in business people do tend to walk all over you, and because you are a nice guy, I always think I'm a nice girl. So I think, well, if you're too nice in business, people kind of don't take you seriously a little bit. So yeah, you have to be ferocious. I think a good example is you might get a post on LinkedIn where somebody says, I'm looking for a speaker. Anybody got any suggestions? And everybody goes, oh, Fred Blogs and Joe Blogs and Fred Smith. And somebody says, Steve Judge. And you go, oh, I'm in the running. That's me.
So we've got a competition on, have we? Right, so we've got 20 people here. Somebody's mentioned my name. How do I beat all of those people?
Then message everybody else. Go, can you just go on LinkedIn and just put my name on?
So you start thinking. You release the cage doors. You think, well, first of all, I'll connect with the person that's asking. Then I'll send them a nice message. Maybe send them a photo. Photos are always good on social media. In fact, then I'll do a video. I'll do a special video just for that person. You're thinking about what more you can do. Is that being ferocious? I don't know. Ruthless? I don't know. But you're thinking about, I want to win this. I want to get that gig. Yeah. I want to beat all those other 20 people that have been suggested, and I want to get that gig. Definitely. So it is about throwing the cage doors open and saying to your tiger, go.
Go for it. You can do it.
Pounding along. And so it does relate to sport, and I think it does relate to business, and maybe everything. With the book, what can I do to become #1 bestseller? How can I be ferocious on that? Facebook Live doesn't sound very ferocious, but it's definitely out of my comfort zone.
Oh, it is. It's not my favourite thing.
No, so that was my thing. I flew the doors open and said, I will do some Facebook Lives, and I did 3 of them, and I did all the videos and everything. So yes, it's how you interpret it, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
But yes, my white tiger.
Yeah, I liked that. Also,
Going back on that,
Yes.
maybe I have to think about what yours is.
Yeah, I have been thinking about it, and not that I want to copy, but I always say that I have got cats. I've got Bengal tigers, obviously domestic,
Yeah.
but they are a bit crazy, and I often do relate myself to them.
Okay.
So I'm not saying that's my inner, because I also think I'm a little bit of a monkey at times. So yeah, I'm relating it to animals again, but
Yeah.
I always say I am a little bit of a cat. So yeah, it did get me thinking. I'm not quite sure yet on that one. I flip between a few.
I think it's nice. Not everybody's into stuff like that. But have you read The Chimp Paradox?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Well, I listened to it.
Okay, that's the same thing.
And
yeah.
I know a lot of people, I don't not like it, and I
Yeah.
could totally relate, because I do think that it's that voice into it.
Yes.
And I always call it the angel and the devil myself.
Yes,
But,
okay, yeah,
so I
that
always
makes
feel like
sense.
I'm a bit like, or good and bad Louisa. Not that I'm bad, but...
Yeah, you said that a couple of times though, to be honest. I'm just thinking,
So I think,
bad
well,
or naughty?
Yeah, well, I actually say you have got a naughty side to you. I read in the book, so it kind of amused me a little bit. So that's actually, we've just skipped a question, but we'll go back to it. But yeah, I did actually put you've got a naughty side,
I know, I have.
so that did amuse me a little bit. So maybe
Yeah.
it's good and bad Steve too, or good and naughty Steve. We'll say maybe I shouldn't say good and bad. That's not a good
Rebellious
bit.
sometimes as well. But I justify it by I assess it. I feel that I'm intelligent enough, and if the sign says, do not climb over the fence, I'll be like,
Why not?
why not? I don't understand. I'm looking over the fence. It looks
Yeah.
fine to me. I've done my own risk assessment. I've
Yeah.
got common sense.
Yeah,
I'm going to climb over that fence.
see what happens.
Yeah, because I want to. And so that's one example. But I think there's other examples as
Yeah.
well where I've just been a little bit, I'll be okay. And I like that. It's a little bit cheeky, a little bit naughty, a little
Yeah.
bit rebellious.
That's what me and the monkey is. I think I'm a bit cheeky at times. So
Yeah.
I think it's not a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. And I think that's probably how you've got where you are as well. Because if you wasn't naughty, you'd play it safe all the time. And you'd be like, oh, well, the doctor says don't do that, so I won't do that. Whereas you didn't always do what they said, did you? Like, no, I'm going to make sure I get this. Like, I want to do this quicker. And, I want to, my leg, I want it to be longer, the 10 millimeters, and that's later on, and stuff. So you were like, no, determined to make it
Yes,
happen.
being stubborn and being rebellious, I think it all blends in.
Yeah.
As long as we don't go through lots of my rebellious stories.
No,
that
I'd
are
call it
just really
determination. I've moved on and said, like, it is determination, I would say. So we could talk about the book all the time. So, but we've got.
I think it was hard because I worked in health and safety and construction, so you've got to be straight down the line. You can't bend the rules there. You've got to stick to the rules. They're there for a reason. So my rebellious side is kind of thinking sometimes, that's a bit over the top, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jeez, crikey. But the legislation says you've got to stick to that. So I literally had to turn it on and off. And I think the thing is if I understand. So it's a big question of why. If you tell me why I've got to do that, then okay, I'll listen.
Yeah.
So if the sign of the fence doesn't explain why you're not allowed to pass that fence, if it says, the ground might fall away and you might fall in the sea, I'll go, okay, fair enough. I can't see that, so I'll take your word for it, Mr. Sign. But the thing is, if it doesn't say that, you're like, well, you're not giving me enough information. So if somebody says, don't do that, you're like, why? Well, why shouldn't I do that? And I think it's about spending the time. So there's another one I do. One of my messages is I don't say no to my kids. And I don't say no to the Cub Scouts or anything like that.
Right.
I explain why.
Okay.
So it's difficult. It takes practice. So let's blow it up. If they say, can I have some ice cream just before bedtime? It's very easy as a parent to say, no, don't be silly. But you say, I don't think that's a really good idea because just about to go to bed and you've got to clean teeth and it's not really good. It's very sugary and stuff like that. You explain why. It takes a long time to explain why. But I never say no.
But it might be a quicker result in the end, because then
Absolutely.
And I'm a bit like that. If somebody says to me, you know why you do that, don't you? Or you know why you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And that's why I talk about the cat, because I always think curiosity killed the cat. I kind of think I'm a little bit like that. I'm curious of things.
Yes.
So it's sort of like I need more information before I settle on a decision.
Yeah.
So if you say no, I'll be curious until I've got a reason why
Good.
the no is there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where my cat comes in. But then I often watch my cats and think, there's no wonder curiosity kills the cat. Stop doing that.
And they have 9 lives. You haven't got that many.
No.
So yeah.
Although I do, again, I relate to being a cat, not to go into me, but yeah. I've been quite accident prone in my time, and I always think, oh gosh, I've only got 3 lives left, I think.
3? What have you been up to?
Oh, I got knocked down quite a few times when I was younger.
Okay.
So
Wow.
yeah, I think I was given a heart attack numerous times. One was by a double-decker bus in Pond Street. So
Wow, sounds like a superwoman.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can come out the other side. So yeah, I do joke saying I've got a few lives. So, but that's another topic altogether.
Yes.
So I did read that you are quite into chakras. Obviously, you've mentioned yoga already. I do Reiki. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I've heard of Reiki, yeah.
So that's often working on your chakras and stuff. So I just thought, I could relate to that. So reading your book, I thought, I like that. I like people who are into themselves kind of thing, if that makes sense. Because too many people focus on like the surroundings, and sometimes if we could just work out what's going on inside. And Reiki is all about realigning your chakras. So if something's wrong or you're grieving, your heart chakra, I know it's a bit cuckoo to some people, but it can be slightly out of alignment. So you come for a Reiki treatment, and the idea behind it is you realign your heart chakra, so you're creating inner calm.
Yeah.
A little bit like yoga. It's all about your inner calm and peace of mind. So I guess that's been quite a crucial. I know I sort of briefly touched on it anyway.
I know, and I will carry on with the briefness because I don't fully understand it. I haven't fully looked into it, but I like it how I know a little bit about it, because I believe that it's a little bit about everything. My mum always says, it's a bit about everything. If you're feeling ill, it's probably a little bit of everything, a bit of stress and a bit of diet. And it's true. In my eyes, I think it's very much about understanding the person who you are, and even the God inside yourself. And this is called a temple for a reason, because there's a God inside yourself that lines up with the chakras. But it's not just about, if you just got all your chakras in line, you need more than that. You need your health, you need your fitness,
absolutely.
You need flexibility, you need to think about what you're eating, your nutrition. It's about taking time out. Then you're talking about wellness and your mental health as well. So we've already mentioned about 5-6 things. And then there's more than that as well. It's about education, it's about communication, it's about talking to other people. It's about so many things, and it's very hard to do everything. And I think as an elite athlete, or even now, I concentrate on a lot of them, and I think that's really important, and I would love to concentrate on more. So I feel good about myself, but I feel that I'm running at full efficiency. I think if you're running at full efficiency, then you can do more. So sleep is a massive one that people abuse. People abuse their sleep, and I'm reading an amazing book at the moment called Sleep Smarter. And I think if you get your sleep right, that's a really good start for the day. And that's all. I won't go into detail, but it's very much about getting the perfect sleep. It's not always about how much time you have, but if you have the perfect sleep, full darkness, no caffeine after midday, no blue screen before bed, all of these things, eating at the right time, you'll have a really good deep sleep. You'll wake up feeling buzzing, and that's what the feeling I get. Once you do that, what do you do after that? So I have a morning routine, which I'll just go through very briefly. It's I go through to my office, as we were talking about, where I sit down and I read a book, a self-development book, because I think that's very important for me to develop myself. Whether that's a suggestion from my action coach, Mark Thackeray, or whether it's something that somebody suggested to me. I do that for a little bit, then I get down on the floor, I do some exercises, some stretches, and some exercises like press-ups, chin-ups, sit-ups. Then I go over to my cabinet and I sit on the floor in the butterfly pose, and I do some visualizations. So it's mainly just one visualization of what I want to achieve. That amazing thing, that vision, that dream of what I really want. And I'll be open, my vision at the moment is very much about me being on the big stage with a big audience in front, big lights, and entertaining them, getting them inspired and motivated, coming off the stage, having a table where I do book signings, and it's all really amazing. So that's my visualization. So it's very much about how can I get to that? And that's the next bit. So I open my eyes, I go, wow, that was awesome. I really want that. I really want to be on the big stage because it's a way of helping people. So then I go back over to my chair, sit down there, and I read out words of affirmation to myself. So this is a list of words that I have, and it sounds a bit over the top, a bit big-headed of me. But if you don't give words of affirmation to yourself, then who is going to give them to you? So it's things like, Steve, you will not lean on your excuses. Steve, you do turn your excuses into challenges. Steve, You are ingenious. Steve, you've got this. Steve, you are positive. You can do this. You won't give in. And all of these positive things, I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm great. So you're feeling all pumped. Then I grab my book and I write down 5 things. Just 5 things that will take me towards that visualization, that thing that I've just done. And I write them down. And it's not about emails or phone calls. It's the bigger things, really. And that's the end of my morning session. And that takes me to about 6:30. That gives me half an hour before the kids wake up for me to blitz it and do a few things, put my ducks in a row.
Yeah.
Because once the kids wake up, the house gets turned upside down and, kicking and screaming and everything. But once they go off to school, then I can go back to my desk and see those 5 things that I've got to do, and that will focus me for that day, taking to me towards my vision, that thing that I really want. And yes, the phone will ring and the email will ping and everything, but if I can get those 5 things done, that's what I really want, and that drives me forward, and that gives me endorphin release. And let me just carry on, that at the end of the day, it's all about being the best that you can be. I always ask myself, so Steve, head's just about to hit the pillow, how's it gone today? Did you do those 5 things? And I'm like, well, I did 3 of them, but there were 2 that I didn't. Okay, fair enough. Why not? And one was, because I got sucked into social media and I got taken away with that. Okay. And why the other thing? Because I was playing with my kids too much. Okay, that's not a bad thing. So don't watch social media too much. Play with your kids. All the best for tomorrow. And so again, it's talking to myself, and then perfect sleep, and the next day is the same scenario again. So it is being in line with my chakras, talking to myself, listening to myself, feeling how I am. The stretches are important to me, the yoga pose, the visualization, and the health and fitness as well. It's
everything combined, isn't it? Yeah. It's not just because you can go for as many Reiki treatments as you like and do yoga to your heart's content. It's not.
No, you got.
It's not.
Don't
worry about
I feel terrible.
It is. You've got to do a bit of everything. I often speak to people, and people are so focused on the external factors like the nails, the hair, which are all lovely. Don't get me wrong.
I think it's necessary. As we talked, it's a bit of everything.
Yeah.
We've both seen Harry.
Yeah.
Yes, our stylist.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I'm on the stage, I want to look good. I don't want to think about what I'm wearing. I just want to wear it. I'm a busy person. I've got things to do.
Exactly.
Harry has told me what I look good in. Yeah. Great, move on. So that's one less stress to worry about. I can concentrate.
So I had my pink jacket today, but then I was a little bit warm, so I had to take it off.
Perfect.
I was like, damn, I love my pink jacket. It always, makes me. It's the colour. I like it. I know it suits me. I feel good in it, and it is one of those. It's amazing how some of those external factors do affect you internally as well, don't they?
As well as skin, and making sure that you're looking
good,
skincare.
Definitely. It all plays its part. Yeah. So we've got to do all the bits we can. So just sort of going back to the book a little bit, I know you have sort of spoken about your marriage did break down, but obviously just talking about where the pictures of you at your wedding and the way that you had to have your mum. Your mum's amazing, isn't she? Like how resilient and resourceful a mum sometimes. Like taking you to get your suit trousers.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Widened and stuff. So like it just seemed like a really emotional day, or I can imagine it felt emotional reading it. So I can imagine it was really emotional at the time.
It was.
If you're happy to talk about it,
I
just
absolutely.
thought it was just your mum really. I just thought she just was incredible, like getting you ready for that day, and then just being able to stand at the...
Well, my goal was very much to stand at the altar.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do. That was my goal. That's what I was driven towards. And suddenly standing was really difficult for me, almost impossible. But that's what pushed me, and I had to use a Zimmer frame to stand up, and I'd always cheat by using my arms, and then I'd have to release my arms and stand on my legs and put the weight through my legs. And I was doing it as much as I could, no regrets. But the wedding day was approaching, and I suddenly realised that I wasn't going to be able to stand at the altar. How I was going to, because you've got to stand there for 5-10 minutes. So I had to come up with another idea. It's kind of like plan B. And so that's why we came up with this idea of a shooting stick. With this stick which has got a seat on the top of it. So we practiced, and I got another best man, so I had 2 best men, and I would stand at the altar, and then they would pass me the shooting stick, and I'd shove it up my bum and sit on it, and that was it. But also I wanted to look smart. I'd been in hospital, I'd lost a lot of weight, I wasn't feeling particularly good about myself, but that day I wanted to feel good about myself. So with this big metal cage on my leg, how we were going to hide that, and we tried to find some trousers, nothing there, And I think the metal cages are probably more common now. So there's more people that might be able to help you. But anyway, my mum took me to a tailor, and we got these special trousers made, which were very big, so they could fit around the metal cage, but also they had a Velcro strap all the way down. I think I mentioned in the book, a bit like a stripper's trousers. Not that I know what a stripper's trousers, but just what I've heard. Yeah, in my other days. She said I was rebellious. So they had a Velcro strap all the way down, and I looked smart. So I was in the wheelchair, and on the day, it all came in to practice, and I turned up there looking smart, and we got into the church, and everybody, because a lot of people hadn't seen me since the accident. It was only probably 3 months. Some people had, but not everybody. So for them to see me in a wheelchair was a shock, asking how I was and everything. And then they went into the church, and then I came into the church in the wheelchair, down to the front, which is quite emotional. Anybody who because I'm quite tall, 6'1", to be in a wheelchair, for them to see that was quite hard hitting. Then the ceremony started. My fiance came down the aisle, and then came my moment to do the standing thing. So using the Zimmer frame, I stood up, held on, and then got the shooting stick, shoved that up my bum. And the thing is, you can't really see the stick. So just looked from everybody else's point of view. They could see me stand at the front of the church and stay stood at the front of the church. And not only that, they said that they could even see the light coming down from one of the church windows, shining down on me.
The whole thing must have just been incredible for everyone to watch, and for you, obviously.
And very emotional for me to stay there and do my wedding vows, to achieve my goal, to stand at the altar. That's what I really wanted to do. It was an exhausting day, and when I look at the photos, it's things like seeing me sat down in the wedding photos on a park bench, and everybody around us. Not the wheelchair, we've got the wheelchair under the photos, but also we did some where I was stood on the shooting stick. So again, from the front, it looks like I'm just stood up. And I go, but I'm not. I'm looking really short. I'm not that small. That's not me. So it's a lovely photo, but it still reminds me of I wasn't, who I was, really.
But I suppose it's all about those goals again, isn't it? And at least you did do what you set out to do, and it was a massive step in obviously a very, very long journey.
Oh my goodness.
And just sort of talking about the stretching of the leg.
Oh yes. Yeah.
I don't know, I just thought in my head because obviously you say it in millimeters, but in my head I was like, how big is that?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my.
And so I had to twist. So it's my responsibility again. It's taking your responsibility on board. When they said this is the cage. And once the bone had healed, even though my leg was 4 inches shorter, so that the bone had healed, I went in for another operation where they broke the bone in the good place. When I woke up from that operation, they said, okay, now it's over to you, Steve. You've got to stretch your leg out bit by bit by moving this ratchet 4 times a day. So it would be 0.25 of a millimetre a twist. So I said, okay, so I'm going to twist this 4 times. So you do one in the morning, and then you do run around 11 o'clock, and then you might go for sleep, and you do one at 3 o'clock, and then you go, well, how many times have I done it now? Have I done it 3 or 4? I've got to do 4. You do one more. The one thing you don't want to do is do it too much.
Overdo it, yeah.
Very tempting, because you want to get this damn cage off.
I could wait. I sort of read that and I was like, I'd be that person that was just like, look at me, I've stretched it so far.
Yeah. But if you do that, the calcium vein, I'm not getting technical, the string of calcium inside would snap. It's like stretching an elastic band. If you do it too quickly and too far, it's just going to snap, and then the bone won't heal.
Yeah.
If you do it too slow, well, it's just going to take ages. So I definitely wasn't going to do it too slow, but I was tempted to do it too quickly. But I stuck to what I was told. So much as I'm rebellious, at that point...
You knew when you had to do as you were told.
Because they explained why. They said, if you do it too fast, do it too slow. So I hear you. Right, this is my leg now. I'm not going to do it wrong.
you don't want to make it take longer by having to... If you make a mess because you've done it too fast, and then you have to go through it all again, or whatever they might have to do.
I didn't want to do anything wrong.
No.
So I listened to what they said. I understood why. I wasn't rebellious or cheeky or anything like that. I just did exactly what I was told. What I did do, what was cheeky, was as I was stretching the cage out, the bars in it were getting too short, so I'd need new bars. So I'd have to drive all the way into hospital, ask for new bars, and they'd then put them in, do the nuts, tighten it. So there's lots of queuing and waiting around for them to do quite a simple job. What I saw as an engineer, I was watching them thinking, well,
just give me the pole, I can do it.
I can do this. You know, you're wasting your time. I'm wasting my time a lot. So I said, can I just take some of the bars home and just extend it? And they went, yeah, okay. If you're okay doing that, so I'm fine. And that was the rebellious bit. They said it was okay, but at home, you know, you're taking these bars out, and your leg in the cage is literally being held by 1 or 2 bars. If you sneezed, you know, and it just went skew whiff, it would not be a good result. But it kind of, for me, it was exciting. My life was very boring at that stage. I was stuck at home just doing rehabilitation. I think sometimes you need that adrenaline, endorphin release to do something exciting, and also the achievement of when you put it in.
Doing it as well, so like finally you can do something. You're like, yay, look at me! Absolutely, I did that. I have my own leg.
I'm independent. I think that drove me a lot through my rehabilitation. Was independent. I needed to be independent. I was sick and tired of people helping me, and I know they had to, and I know sometimes I needed the help. But I didn't want people to hold the door open for me anymore. I didn't want people to even offer to carry my bag. I've got this. I can do this myself. Don't push my wheelchair. I can do that. I can do this myself. I can do my cage myself. I can do my bandages myself. I want to be independent. And I think that drove me forward. I don't understand people that don't want that. They're quite happy for people to wait on them hand and foot. I guess that's what makes us different.
Obviously, we've spoken quite a lot about a lot of things. One thing I did obviously notice on social media recently that you went to Jersey with your scouts.
Yes, I did.
I lived in Jersey for quite a while, and it has a really special place with me. So I thought, I've got to talk to you about Jersey, especially because of that you went to Wildfire as well. And what do you think to the steak there?
Oh, it was amazing. It was really, really good. Yeah, it was at the end of the day, so, you know, had a few drinks, had the food. The bill was quite big, I must admit.
Jersey's not cheap, is it?
No.
Thank goodness I still know people there.
Yeah, wow. I think that is the biggest bill I've ever paid. There's only 2 of us. But I went with my girlfriend, so we used it as an anniversary celebration as well.
Oh, brilliant.
So I went over there on a speaking gig. I do a lot of work for Scouts, and I really enjoy that, giving something back. We've mentioned Scouts already, about me getting the badges and how it's formed my life with goal setting and working towards them. I'm now a Cub Scout leader, so giving back in that sense. It's my charity that I give to. But I also do talks for the Scouts because it can inspire them and because of the story. What's interesting is me giving means that I receive, and sometimes, quite a lot of the time, I receive some great opportunities and some gigs to go and speak. And one of them happened to be in Jersey. They couldn't afford to pay me, but they could afford to pay for my expenses.
And so, that's probably more anyway, because Jersey's not cheap. Did you stay in the Royal Yacht as well?
No, we didn't. No.
Where did you stay while you were there?
Beachcombers. So just up the road.
Yeah.
But it was really nice, and we stayed on there for a couple of days as a holiday. So made the most of it, and it's nice to say, because it's almost an international gig. We spent the 3 days asking everybody, is Jersey part of the UK?
No.
Is it part of?
No.
Is it part of Britain?
Oh, it's an awkward one, that, but
so it's
definitely not part of the UK.
It's not England.
No, it's its own island. It's the Channel Islands.
It's its own island.
Independent. They have their own rules, which are a bit crazy.
Okay.
There are some crazy rules.
But it is part of Britain, maybe. And this is where it gets confusing.
Yeah, I'd say it's part of Britain. I don't know if some of the... I haven't asked a few of my Jersey friends, because they'll be like, well, maybe we are when we want to be.
Yes, So for me, it was lovely going out of the UK.
I class it as international because you can buy... I don't smoke, but you can buy like cigarettes and alcohol duty free. That's what we're calling. Why do I bring cigarettes? Anyway, buy duty free, and there's less limits than there is. It's not part of the EU, so that definitely means it's not.
But no, it was great. We had a great time. Lovely. We went cycling. We got some pearls. Went to one of those pearl shops. Yeah, Jersey Pearl. And there's also a Pride march as well. So we got involved in that.
Yeah, I saw that you'd done that.
Yeah, and we're just because again the Scouts were part of that about equality within Scouts.
Yeah.
So I used to work for the Scout media team for 3 years.
Okay.
And that was amazing. That was just before I became an international speaker. And working with the media team is all about getting the messages across. And the best question that we could get asked in Scouts was who can join Scouting, because he said anybody and everybody, whether you're gay, straight, male, female, old, young, black, white, everybody, disabled, everybody can join. And not every club has got that, and we used to love that. So for Scouts to be part of Pride is really opening those doors to say, hello, we're here, if you want to join. You know, a lot of people didn't understand that women can join or girls can join Scouting. And they go, oh, when did that happen? 25 years ago. 25 years ago, we opened the doors.
Yeah.
So it's about getting that awareness out. And that's what we did as the media team was, if people don't know that, that's our fault.
Yeah.
We need to shout louder. We need to get more promotion out, more marketing out, so that people know that anybody can join.
Yeah. So I guess we could talk for England, I think.
We could carry on going.
I do just want to feel like we should finish on the fact that you are actually a champion of the world.
I am, yes.
A world champion.
I know, I like saying that. World champion 2 times. In fact, 3 times world champion. And yeah, champion of the world.
Yeah, I love that. Nice champion of the world. So I think that's what we should finish on. But you have totally inspired me. When I did see you at the EBA, when you were doing a speaking event, I do remember the room was you had the room completely silent.
Yes.
And when you played that video at the end,
yeah,
I could literally well up now, because it's like you're watching it and you're sort of going, oh my gosh. And obviously, for some people in the room, like Rother Valley, I know that area, and I have run around there a few times, many times, but so you can sort of almost see the position, like the place where you're, and then when you fall, and then you're sort of like, I'm like, oh my gosh, but then you're a champion of the world, so it's kind of all right now,
it's
so
incredible.
to speak.
Yeah, it is.
It was like everybody was
Thank you.
sort of like moved.
Yeah, and you saw me probably about a year and a half ago, and all I can say is, one, it's got better since then. So my stage performance with the highs and lows and the entertainment and the interaction is better than it was.
And it was amazing then. So
Thank you. The video is new and improved. So that's actually even better.
So you get more people crying.
Quite potentially. And 3, I'm going to go back to the EBA.
Are you?
I'm going to be speaking there again in November, so you're going to get to see it all again. Leeds and Sheffield.
Don't let me miss that one. Not that I miss any, but don't let me miss that one.
It's going to be absolutely awesome, and I'm really looking forward to going there. There's going to be a lot of people there that haven't heard me speak before.
Yeah, there's a lot of new members.
I've just realised I'm going to do an exercise in it. So much as I'm doing my keynote, I'm blending in an exercise that one of the tools that I did that helped me to achieve in my rehabilitation, as an elite athlete, and now my business. This is the tool that's helped me to achieve. This is something I'm going to share on the day. You're going to take part in it.
Ooh.
Then it's going to be back to me.
I feel like
of
I've
course.
got like a little snippet.
I know, it's like it's not been announced yet. Although we don't know when this is going to go out, so it might be announced. Anyway, it's still fresh. And then I'm also going to take my books. So if you want your book signed, I will gladly sign it, and a selfie as well. Amazing. Also, if you want to buy a book there, I'm going to take a load of books with me so you can buy it, get it signed. So yeah, all singing, all dancing.
Well, I will be telling everyone to buy the books.
Yes,
so,
great.
Definitely. So yes, don't lean on your excuses.
Yes, a world champion's courageous story that inspires living with no regrets.
And absolutely it does. So I was going to say what's something that you want to leave us on, but maybe that is it. Or
it is. I think I also want to mention that I'm going to be president of the Yorkshire Speakers Association.
Wow.
This is something that I'm really...
President,
I know.
Good, doesn't it?
Well,
I'm a president.
President Judge.
Absolutely.
I know, what kind
That's
of a
good
statement
one.
is that? It's crazy. Like it. So this is in January, and why am I doing it? So it's not paid or anything like that. It's giving something back. I've got so much from the PSA, Professional Speakers Association. I've got so much from the techniques, the skills, the people, the help, the support. I'm going to give something back. It's my opportunity to give something back next year, January onwards. I've got to find some amazing speakers. I've got loads already. But more than that, what else can I do within that meeting? So we hold the meeting once a month on a Saturday up in Leeds, and it's about giving back to them so that they can become speakers. It's not an easy profession, being a speaker. It's really difficult, to be honest. And a lot of people want to do it, feel that they have this urge, this need. So how can I help them fulfill it? One, get good at speaking. Okay, but it's more than that. How do you find the gigs? How do you find the gigs that pay money? All of this. So if I can give them something that will help them towards their journey completion, that's what I want to do. And that's what I will do in January onwards. So I'm putting a lot of work and effort into it. But it's nerve-wracking a little bit. Because it's kind of a bit out of my comfort zone that I'm talking to some amazing big speakers, but they're going to be coming to the meetings. but also there's a lot of excitement. I'm really excited
I
about
can feel
doing
the
it.
excitement
I
from
know
you.
it's going to be really
And,
good. So that starts in January. I think the first one is
Exciting.
Saturday, January the 25th, up in Leeds. But there's going to be one every single month. So really looking forward to that.
I can relate to, yes, speaking is not the easiest thing. I often, if I ever have to do anything, I think I've decided, I don't know if you've ever seen Bridget Jones.
Yes.
I think I've decided that I am Bridget Jones for Sit Up Britain. Because I am not the best speaker.
Well, I can help you with that. There
Yes,
you go.
I think I might need your help.
As a
That's what I was
speaker
thinking. I
coach.
thought maybe this could be good for me, because I get these opportunities to talk, but sometimes, I mean, it's always entertaining, don't get me wrong, from everybody else's point of view.
Yeah.
And I just think, oh, Louisa, you are Bridget Jones for Sit Up Britain. That's what's going through my head. But it's amusing. I like to make people laugh.
But this is the point about having the PSA is I want as many people to come along as possible.
So it's for anybody who is just interested in speaking.
Absolutely. And this is what somebody asked me. They said, oh, I was thinking about going, but I don't know if they'd let me in. And I was like, what do you mean? There's no locked door. There's no bouncers on the door. Anybody can go. So you have to pay, I think it's like £18 to go for the meeting, but you get 2 amazing speakers. You get one speaker that's just starting off doing a showcase. We give them feedback, but it's more than that. It's being in a room full of other speakers, being in a room of people that get paid for speaking. You look at them and think, wow, it does exist. It's not a myth. You are actually getting paid just to speak. That's all you do. So that really gives you some inspiration.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk to a lot of my friends that have shown some interest in speaking or some skill or some, something that they want to pursue in. Come on down. Why not just come down in January and see how it goes? I really want to fill the room. And if they like it, they can come again in February. And then if they won't like it even more, they can even join. That's where I started. 2016, I went down there and I didn't know whether I was going to like it or not. And they said to me, Steve, we'd love you to join, and if you join, you can enter the competition Speaker Factor.
Ooh.
And I went, did you just say a competition?
I'm in.
Count me in. What's the competition? And
before you even knew what it was.
Before I didn't know what it was. The competition, way out of my comfort zone, but that launched me as a speaker. That thing called Speaker Factor launched me. It's only a 5-minute talk, but I got all the way through to the final and that. And like I said, different story altogether. I want to give that opportunity to other people that think they're good speakers, because I thought I was good.
Well, I don't think I'm good, but I can improve. I can definitely improve.
I think there's room for, and that's a big thing, is taking on the feedback. Because I thought I was good, and then when you get feedback from speakers saying, you need to be a little bit better, and they give you loads, I'm a very good speaker now. I'm an excellent speaker now. But I didn't know that when I first went.
18 months ago, so
can't
wait to see you again. Yeah. So I know I keep saying we're finishing, but just one last thing. Music plays a massive part in your life, doesn't it?
Yes, massive.
So the whole way through your book the journey is a different song for every chapter.
I had to cut so many. I had to cut so many songs out. They said you've got 180. You can only put 50 in. I was like, what?
I like it.
So I had to cut it down.
I always say it depends what mood I'm in, but yours is currently It's a Beautiful Day.
Ah, yes.
Isn't it? So
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that's really nice. Is it
still a beautiful day? Is it still how you feeling?
I think I use that.
Changed a little bit?
I think it's changed now. There's an amazing song from the Phantoms. I'm smiling as I'm thinking about it because the words are awesome. It's called what's it called? Good as Gold. Good as Gold.
Okay.
So it's talking about.
I don't know this one.
No, nobody knows it. It's called.
I'm going to Google it. I'm going to Google it.
It's awesome. It's called The Phantoms. Good as Gold. And it's all about going for your gold, which is what I talk about. You know, when you hear that song, you think, oh, this is me. This is me. They wrote the song about me. So this is my song. It's not only talking about going for your gold, but it's also saying, I'm going to get it because I know I'm going to get it and I deserve it. And I might be a little bit rebellious to get it, but I'm going to get it. I'm like, oh, this is what I do. And it's lovely. It's upbeat. It's uplifting. That's my song at the moment. But there's so many other songs out there, and I have so many playlists all the time. Music is a big part of my life. Different music for different emotions. Writing this book, I had some very soft, relaxing music so I could focus. No words at all. And I had a massive playlist for that. But yeah, now I'm get up and go. What do I need to motivate myself? Because when I'm not motivated, that's when I need the music most.
Yeah.
When I just press the play and off it goes. And I'm like,
it just changes you. It's so empowering. It just changes
yeah, and it lifts me up. And I go, oh, wow, okay, I'm going to do it now. So yes, that's the song at the moment.
Fab. Mm-hmm. Right. So I need to think of my song.
Yeah, your song, your inner thing.
Yeah.
What phrases you might use.
My hoogar.
Your hoogar. Don't use the word no or try.
I tried. Try.
No, don't try. You either do it or you don't. You can always say in past tense, I tried to do that. but don't say in the future, I'm gonna definitely try and do that. It's like somebody said to me, Steve, you're speaking today, I'm going to try and listen to you. I'll be like,
you're either
what?
listening or you're not.
You're going to try and listen to me? Thanks. But no, they're going to listen, and it's going to be amazing, and you'll see it in November.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay.
I have thoroughly enjoyed this, and now I'm feeling totally inspired.